And hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Creating Resilience. And of course, we must always address what are we doing with our food supply? How do we actually maintain it? How do we increase it? And more than anything else, why are we wasting it? And since we're wasting it, how can we stop that? So our guest today, are Paige, of course, who you all know, but we have a special guest today, Diana. I am so happy to have you here, Dan. Lara of Food Finders. Diana, can you tell us something about yourself and about Food Finders so that everyone will become acquainted with you?
Oh, hi. My name is Diana Lara. I'm the executive director. Obviously, 2020 has been an interesting year, and there's been a lot of changes here at Food Finders. But what we are is we're a community of donors, partner agencies working to rescue food, keep it out of the landfill, and feeding people. We cover all of LA County, Orange County, Riverside County, and San Bernardino counties. So we have a really large territory, and we're probably working with about 600 food donors and about 400 different partner agencies. So we're doing a lot of really great things in a lot of the communities.
This is very exciting news for us. So just so you know that this program is not just in California, it goes all over. So this would be an excellent model, I think, for many other communities as well. Paige, welcome. And what is it that your hat is saying today?
Well, my hat says Make America Green Again. We've been discussing zero food waste and a challenge with that. I did a course last summer that is based on the Drawdown Project. And in the Drawdown Project, they talk about number 3 and 4 being eating more plant-based food to draw down carbon, also to compost and work on zero food waste. So I got this hat in honor of that to bring about the conversation of, Make America Green Again. As you know, there was a lot of concrete. The Pantanal in Brazil is burning for, everyone hears about the Amazon, but it's a part of the Amazon. It's the largest wetlands in the world. And right now it's burning due to the government, who is basically encouraging the burning for food, the crops to be built there, crops, food, to send food, which is animal product, over to other countries. And we are losing jaguars, alligators, and more species by the minute. So Make America Green is the message to bring forward and to encourage less food waste and to compost more.
So our slogan is?
Eat less, compost more.
Exactly. Oh, lovely, lovely. Now, Diana, tell us exactly what your company is doing. Give us some, step-by-step details of how you got involved, why you got involved, and exactly what you're all doing. Just remember to unmute yourself first. That is the most difficult thing for all of us to remember.
Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so I've been with the organization for 14 years. I actually took over as executive director in April. So we moved to our new facility in March. I took over in April, and I just absolutely love it. Like I said, this year has been a crazy year, and what we've done is, this is our time to shine. So we are now doing weekly family food boxes to our partner agencies so that they can provide food to these people who are now all find themselves without a job due to COVID. This is something new. We usually only do this during the holidays or during the summer for our Summer to End food drive event. But now we see that the need is so great that not only are we using the food that we rescue daily, but we're also doing these food boxes. Now, we have a couple of additional programs, but our food rescue program is our main program. And like I said earlier, we are working with 600 partner 600 donors. And we've got pickups that we do 7 days a week. And we're picking up from grocery stores. We're picking up from manufacturers, from distributors. We're at the farmers markets. We're at the produce mart every day. We're just really, whoever has food to donate, we will pick up that food and we will make sure that it gets to people in need. Our programs include our Food for Kids program. Now, during the normal school year, which obviously 2020 is not, we distribute 380 bags of food every Friday to 15 schools so that these families have enough food to eat over the weekend. We also have our Healthy Choices program where we are providing nutrition education, we're providing food waste education, and we're providing a bag of organic produce and cooking instructions to low-income senior programs and low-income family units. That program has really had a tremendous amount of success. For the families, it's allowing them to taste foods that they're not used to eating. And with the cooking demonstration, that's a big help. With the seniors that get this program, it allows them to collaborate with other seniors, which is so important to that senior population. So, really proud of those programs. And our last program is our Farmlink program. I don't know if many of you have heard of this program, but this is in response to COVID as well. And we are collaborating with a group of college students across the nation to work with farmers who don't have an outlet for their product and provide that product and bring that to our partner agencies. And this is done nationally. So they've contacted farmers in California, in Maine, in you name it, whatever state. And we're purchasing that food, or we're paying for the cost of the workers to harvest. And then we're making sure that that's getting over to a partner agency for distribution. So there's been a lot going on this year.
My understanding is that this is a nonprofit, correct?
That is correct. We are 100% nonprofit.
How do you get your income? Because you do a lot, and you seem to cover just about a wide spectrum that needs to be covered. How do you get the income so you can pay staff? And I think you just got a new vehicle as well donated, did you not?
We did. We just got a new vehicle donated by Whole Foods. It's absolutely beautiful. But we write, our development team is writing grants. We're working with corporate sponsors, such as Whole Foods, that gave us this brand new vehicle. We are, we've got a lot of generous individuals, especially this year, that have just said, we want to help. We had people walk in with their stimulus checks saying, you know what, I don't need this money. There's people out there who do buy food with that. There's just, we have been so blessed over our 31 years that we've been operating, and, there always seems to be enough money to cover all of our expenses and all of our programs. So we're doing as much as we can, but a lot of grants, a lot of corporate sponsors, and a lot of generous individuals.
This is the most heartening news to hear. I love this news. Is the kind of news that I live to hear. And which I wish would be all over on, mainstream media and whatnot. This is the kind of news that we really need to promote. So I'm really glad to have you on the show here. And if anyone listening would like to donate to you, what do they do? On mic again, unmute yourself first again. Okay.
So, they can go to our website, and it's foodfinders.org. And all donations are welcome. For every $1 that's donated to Food Finders, that allows us to provide 11 meals to our partner agencies. So that is really significant. We stretch your dollar as far as possible. So definitely go to our website, foodfinders.org, and help support the communities that you live in and the people that are in such need right now.
Diana, I know that you had told me about places like Tartine. Tartine, which is one of the premier bread companies, makes the most amazing, expensive bread. I remember you told me, I think it was last month, that they were trying to give away bread at the end of the day, freshly baked, whole grain, organic, amazing bread, and they didn't have enough takers. Can you let us know how people can know about this? People who maybe are not exactly needing food, but could use some extra food because they cannot make ends meet every single week.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's, it's just remarkable. There's so many companies out there that are throwing food away because obviously they're not in the business to donate food. So, that's where we come in, and we're working with donors, we're contacting donors so that we can educate them on the opportunities to donate that food and give them some type of a tax break for that as well. But we always welcome new partner agencies. So if anybody is in need of food or is interested in receiving food from Food Finders, they can go directly to our website and they can fill out a partner agency application, and then we will contact them immediately. If there's an individual who's in need of food, they can just contact our office, and we can either email them a list of locations near where they live, or they can actually go on our website, and we have our pantries listed on the website in a Google Map form. So they can just click on the one closest to them, and it will provide all the location information as well as the days that they're doing the distributions and any contact information that they need.
So people can actually just show up at these places like Tartine is both a bakery and a cafe. They could just show up there in the evening and just ask or not?
No, if individuals are in need of food, they would have to go directly to our partner agencies to get the food. If somebody knows of somebody that has excess food like Tartine, you just want to encourage them to contact Food Finders and let them know that, hey, there are companies out there like ours that'll pick up this food, and will make sure that gets into the hands of people who really need it. So definitely I encourage everybody to contact Food Finders and let us know. You can also email either myself, Diana Lara, or our food acquisitions manager, Chris Wong.
And what about if those of us who go to farmers markets, or if we see that there's excess and the farmers just don't know what to do with it, can we also direct them to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We would welcome it.
Absolutely. And what about people who get CSAs, community supported agriculture, and they get a basket or a box every week, and they're leaving town and they forgot to cancel it? Can they then call up Food Finders and say, help, I've got all this just arrived, I don't know, can you take this off my hands and give to somebody who needs it?
Yeah, absolutely. What we would probably do is direct them to one of our partner agencies that is close to them. With 400 partner agencies in all of those counties, you can imagine we have quite a few. And we've had a lot of individuals that have called us, and we'll say, hey, here's a partner agency close to you. Go ahead and drop it off, and just let them know Food Finders sent you to them.
This is such welcome news to me, and I think this is so important because there's so much food waste going on, and there's so many people who do not have enough nutrition, or simply do not know where to go, even although they might know that they need the food, but they're afraid to go someplace where maybe they will be asked to fill out forms and things about themselves that they don't want people to know. How do people manage with you? Do they have to fill out lengthy forms and give a lot of information that might exclude them from coming in and asking for help?
we don't provide food directly to individuals, but the majority of our partner agencies are, truly amazing, and they're doing their work because they want to make a difference in the lives of people in need. So, they may ask for a name, they may ask for the city that they live in, but really, that's pretty much it. There's been many a times where we've directed somebody, even if we receive a call late, like after a food bank is closed, we might receive a call from somebody in need of food. And we will call an agency and say, hey, you know what? I have this person, their name is this. Can you provide them with a box of food, or can you provide them with a bag of food? And they always, jump at the chance to help individuals, even if it's not during the normal distribution time. So, there's not a lot of restrictions. I think what happens is people are afraid. They're afraid that they're going to hear no, or there's concerns that maybe they're in a particular situation and they don't want that information out there. So we all of our agencies work with their clients to make sure that they get that food as needed.
And do these agencies drop off the food to them, or does that person then need to find transportation to go and pick it up?
They would have to pick that up. Although we do have something in the works where very shortly we might be delivering some USDA boxes, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. But that would go directly to individuals. But for the meantime, absolutely, they would have to make arrangements to pick up the food from that partner agency.
Great, thanks. So, Paige, why don't you jump on in here, because I know that you always have a lot going on as well. And have you been aware of food finders?
I have not. This is very exciting, because one of the things that I am aware of is the food waste that happens by way of basically the choosing of the most desirable product, so to speak, from the farmers, and then a lot of food waste ends up happening as the kind of the uglies. The ones that aren't perfect. So, but they're delicious and edible, perfectly edible. But what we have been basically, prepped, and I would like to say we've been encouraged to always look for the perfect fruit or vegetable. So in the stores, things are shined up and they're glossy and there's no bruises and there's no, this or that. So I remember seeing a movie, I think it was called Waste. It was just called Wasted. And it was about food waste. And it showed how, I think it was that was the film where there was a young couple that lived off of food waste that was actually put into bins behind certain big box shops and stores. And they lived off that food waste. Like it was their own personal challenge. Do you know what movie I'm talking about, Diana? Is that what it is? It's called Wasted?
It is. It is. They were. It was actually from a Trader Joe's that they were doing that. So
yeah,
I was actually on the panel for the premiere of that film. And it was an Anthony Bourdain film.
Yeah.
And I remember bringing up a whole different aspect of food waste that the film had never considered. And there was some other aspects, and I thought it was such a valuable film because it showed in pretty great detail too the amount of food that restaurants themselves waste. It's quite shocking. It's almost indecent.
Yes.
Really,
yes.
It almost borders on immorality, in my opinion. And
certainly, we could reduce portions on the plates, charge less, and people would be encouraged to finish what's on their plates. I think that is a new conversation. No longer is the conversation of only eat half because you're watching your weight or whatever. And I'm talking to those that have that ability and the privilege of being able to say, oh, I'm only going to eat half. But really, literally getting back to that value of finishing what is on your plate. And if you don't finish it, take it home with you, bring it home with you, and reuse it, repurpose it. That's what we've been discussing here too with food waste is how can you repurpose, how can you plan, get yourself a meal plan, going to the farmer's market on the weekend, knowing what you're going to be making for the week, having a plan, and then repurposing those potatoes that you made for, whatever you made, like a stewed potato or mashed potato. Now you're going to make them into like a latke pancake type thing one night. However it is that you can repurpose and redistribute. I was looking at your website, Diana, and the Farmlink Project. I just think this is so incredible. This is also part of it, right? It's the grassroots movement that connects farms with food banks by acquiring their surplus produce. So phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we were contacted by the two young students that started the program, and they had seen, this was in April, they had seen the video of the egg farmer who couldn't sell his eggs and was stepping on them, just dumping them in the ground and stepping on them. And then there was the farmer in, I believe, Idaho or Montana that was plowing his crops under because restaurants were closed and he couldn't sell his product. So they were mortified, and they contacted the farmer and said, hey, if we can get that product donated, can we work together to, get that food to where it's needed? And the farmers that they've been in contact with were extremely excited about working with them. So they then paid the farmer to have his workers harvest the product. And then in partnership with Uber has a freight division. Uber shipped the product to us. So our very first donation was 17 pallets of onions. And what Farmlink has done is they had contacted a bunch of nonprofits in California looking to place these onions, and everybody kept saying, we can't take those, we don't have enough room for that. So they started asking them, well, who do you get your food from? And that's how they heard about us. All of them said, well, we get our food from Food Finders. So he then contacted me and says, Diana, I got 17 pallets of onions. Can you take them? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. When can you deliver them? So 2 days later, we had the onions. That was on a Saturday. And that following Monday, those were distributed out to our partner agencies. And that's really how we started this collaboration. Since then, they've contacted farmers throughout the United States doing the same thing. We've had grapes, we've had watermelons, we've had, we've had anything you can imagine that grows in the ground that's been either purchased from the farmer or we've paid for the salaries of the workers to harvest. And then, like I said, the transportation because of Uber Freight, we've made sure that got to other nonprofits so that they can get that to individuals. So this group is amazing. They didn't have any limits. They just wanted to get something fixed. They know that there's a problem, and this problem has existed forever. It's just COVID brought that to light, and hopefully now, we can fix the food justice issues that we have. Because everybody, this COVID is not going to go away. It's going to be with us next year. So we really have to look at what we're doing and how we're managing that food.
Well, I also think it's so powerful what you're doing with school children too, because there's so many school children that go hungry outside of schools, and now with schools being closed down or limited, I think it's incredible, this program that is called Food for Kids, and it looks like you actually involve children in this too, that they can start one in their own school system, right?
We're working with 15 schools. We'd love to grow the program. But it's a program. We have our Food for Kids program, which is we're providing bags of food every Friday, but we also have a program set up with, I want to say about over 100 schools where we're picking up the food that's left over from their lunches. And then we're taking that to our nonprofit partners. And we've been doing that for several years. Obviously, this year is a little bit different because of COVID, but under normal circumstances, we have about 100 schools that we're working with in Orange County and LA County where we're picking up that food after their lunches. The kids get an opportunity to go and get whatever additional food they'd like from what they call a share table. And then after they're back in class, one of our volunteers will swing by, pick up whatever's left, and then take that to a nonprofit.
Incredible.
Thank
So
you.
important. Really incredible, important work.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
And Diana, I do have a question to ask you. So you talked about Uber Freight. I didn't even know there was an Uber Freight. Did they donate? Did they donate their transportation?
They've been very generous to the Farmlink group, and I want to say they've donated about $500,000 in freight. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
It looks like you have a big hit on your hands.
I've got an amazing team that just is dedicated to our mission and, just goes above and beyond to make sure that we're rescuing food and we're providing that to people in need. So I'm very fortunate with my team and very proud of my team.
So would you say your main purpose is really to find food where it's been wasted and get it to those who need it the most?
It really is. Although, food waste is 40% of all food that's produced does not make it to our tables. So, you've got that side of fixing the problem, but you also have the other side of more food is thrown away by individuals than anything. So as Paige was talking earlier, we really have to look at planning. Like she said, those mashed potatoes left over, we make them into potato tacos on Tuesday. So we're trying to educate people as well about food waste and making sure that they understand that they're a big part of the problem as well, because you can't rescue food once it's gone into your own personal trash can. So it's a process.
So do you have a kitchen there where you teach people how to repurpose food?
We don't, but we have a really good social media person. And we've done videos about repurposing food. We've done a lot of education through the Healthy Choices program. They're doing a lot of food waste and food nutrition education. We include that information in the Food for Kids bags as well. So it's just a combination of ways for us to share the information out there.
So we are with the Jane on Chain News Network. We're a bunch of all of us have shows there. And we have most of us are chefs. Is there a way that we could support you by creating these videos to repurpose food and donate them to you?
Absolutely, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
This is great because this is all about produce and how to, and there's so much, that goes to waste that it's so shocking to me when I used to do before we were all quarantined and no longer be able to get together. I used to do a lot of workshops and I used to go on book tours. And we'd buy all this food and the person who was hosting me would buy a lot of food and I would make the food. And then at the end I would, we would have a lot of people show up, but I didn't use everything that I was given to make. And I said, well, who are we going to donate this to? And they all looked at me like, what do you mean donate? We can't use this again. it's got to go in the trash. And I said, no, not trash. This is beautiful organic produce. You know, the actual facility with which people think about throwing away. There's no away food. That's what I would like to do some videos about changing the mindset. And that's one of the purposes of this show. If we're going to create resilience in our lives, it has to be around food. We must take advantage of this opportunity to re-look at our lives, re-examine our lives, and see all the ways in which we do not revere and honor food, and honor the farm laborers and the farmers and those who drive these trucks for so long and so far, and find ways to bring a reverence to the food that is so missing around our food supply.
And the resources that go into that food. You know, people don't think about, you know, the resources to, when you plant a whole batch of potatoes, you know, not only time, but, you know, the water, the dirt, there's so much that goes into it that we have to think about. And people don't, they just say, like you said, just throw it away. But no, you're not just throwing away that leftover food. You're throwing away all the time, all the energy, all the resources that went into you having that food for your event.
Yeah, yes. And we actually launched here on the Creating Resiliency Collaborative Group, we launched a Zero Food Waste Challenge. And the reason why I chose this time of the year to do it is because we're coming up to what I call the time of gluttony, when people buy way too much. Waste just goes up all the way, I mean, to the highest on the Richter scale. And then they start off the year and say, okay, now I need to go on a diet. Well, people are starving, and people went through the season pretty hungry and malnourished. Malnourished to me is most important than hungry. And yet they never thought all that time that they were wasting. What about these people who are malnourished? If I simply, our slogan, which Paige came up with, consume less and compost more, but consume less. So if they just start, if we start that now, consuming less, and then we start any money that we would have spent on extra that we wouldn't have used, we donate it to food finders, then everyone is served. And we won't have to go to all this huge, incredible gluttonous fervor and then feel sorry about it afterwards. But why not instead give people the alternatives? And that's why I wanted to bring you on, because I wanted people to find out that there is an alternative that is not just about getting people food donated, but it's also we ourselves, how we add to it with every single decision we make every day. Every time we make a decision around food, we need to ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Who is affected by this? Who am I dishonoring in doing this? And how can I honor all the resources and all the people who put so much effort into this? And usually it's by consuming less and composting more as well, but also by supporting organizations such as yours. And I would love to see your organization, Food Finders, be a model for other organizations around the country, and for people to really be really involved in what you're doing, whether to increase your presence on social media, whether to donate to you just by volunteering. Do you need any volunteers, Diana?
Yes, absolutely. You know, we are a volunteer-based organization, and prior to COVID, my volunteer base was 65 and over. You know, they're the ones with the most time on their hands. And I probably had about 100 to 150 volunteers. Well, once the government said, you know what, you are more susceptible, we think you should shut yourself in, we lost about, I want to say 60% of our volunteer base. Again, this has been an interesting year. In March, we rolled out a volunteer app, obviously not knowing any of this stuff was coming on down the pike. And that rollout could not have come at a better time. We, since March, have signed up over 400 new volunteers throughout the 4 counties that we work in. And it has just been tremendous. We could not have replaced those volunteers if it had not been for this app. It's been just a blessing. To the timing was just a blessing. But so we're about 400 volunteers. Some of our older volunteers have come back. But in different capacities. We use volunteers in our warehouse. They're the ones who are making the weekly family boxes that are going out. We follow all of the protocols for, making sure we have the mask and the gloves, and we're cleaning in between volunteers, and we've got them on schedules. So yes, absolutely. We're always in need of volunteers throughout all of the cities that we serve, and for, picking up and delivering food, for doing work in our warehouse, you name it. There's so many ways, sharing our information on social media. That's huge, because you're sharing our information with a larger base, and really exposing Food Finders to so many more people.
And also, would you say that now that you have the app, it's easier for volunteers to sign up?
It is. We encourage them to go to our website to fill out a volunteer application. As soon as they fill out that application, we will then send them an email that says, here's our volunteer app. Go to your Google store or your iTunes store and download the app. They get to, it has a food safety video that they have to watch. It has all of the information. It's super easy to use. And now everything is done right on their phone. Once they've signed up, they've gone through the food safety certification, then they can select a route that's available. It can either do it one time, or they can make it a weekly route, and it'll tell them exactly where they're going to pick up, what time they have to be there, who their contacts are, generally what they're picking up from that location. And then once that pickup is done, it'll tell them where to take that to, who the contact is at that location. They can take a picture of the food, of themselves, and then they're done. And it's the feature on the back end of the app will let them know, it tells them their volunteer hours, but it gives them their impact. So what they've done, how many pounds of food that they've rescued. It's really a satisfying feeling for them.
And is the food safety certification now online?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is the food safety certification now online?
It's actually through the app.
Oh, does it make it even easier?
Yeah, it's one of the processes in the app.
This is wonderful. Whose idea was this? Was this yours?
Well, we looked for about 2 years for the app. And then we found this partner in Pittsburgh, of all places. They have a program similar to ours. It's called 412 Food Rescue. And the executive director in her prior life was in IT. And she put this app together. We absolutely loved it after 2 years of searching, and we implemented it in March.
This is the perfect timing. Paige,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that you were really glad that you thought about this beforehand. It's amazing when you do so much for others and you give so much of yourself, the universe always gives back.
It is so true. It is so true. And it has happened on so many instances. We've had an agency that says, Diana, we're having this event and I need, let's say, cut fruit. And that's not something that we normally get. So we'll say, okay, well, if that comes up, we'll make sure to let you know, and we'll have that available for you to pick up. And so many times we've made a call, unfortunately that did not get donated. I'm sorry, but we're not able to help you. And no sooner do we hang up that phone, 10 packages of cut fruit will walk through the door. So we've seen it time and time again.
I love this. I am so happy to hear this. Paige, do you have anything that you would like to ask Diana or?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say I was looking for my book. That's what I was doing back there a minute ago, my Drawdown Project book, but I went ahead and went to the website. I just wanted to repeat, and this is just on the heels of what Diana's talking about here, is roughly a third, this is straight from the Drawdown Project website, roughly a third of the world's food is never eaten. That's 1/3, so think about that. And resources used and greenhouse gases emitted in producing it were unnecessary, right? Interventions can reduce loss and waste as food moves from farm to fork, therefore reducing overall demand. So I just wanted to repeat that. And how can you, the person out there that's watching this, make an impact? So I think really I have 3 things to say about that. 1, plan ahead. Plan your purchases so you're not just buying a bunch of groceries and trying things out like without somewhat of a plan. So planning out. Number 2, CSAs and farmers markets, very essential. When you're touching that food, when you're seeing it, you're not going to buy a huge bag of oranges that are in a bag and then 10 of them go bad because they're all stuck in there and they're, the methane is now working its magic on the decomposing of it, right? So you're going to purchase maybe 4 oranges because you're going to think about, what am I going to eat? Instead of buying bulk, you're buying less. You're thinking about your purchases. And the third thing is, the first one is planning ahead. Second is CSAs and farmers markets. And then the third is composting. So when you take your food scraps out of the trash, you're reducing methane. Okay, the methane, it's what breaks down that food in the landfills with the rest of your garbage, right? And we don't realize it, but we really, really need to shift to a composting mindset. Big time, because the methane, we want to be able to draw down carbon and bring more carbon on the planet like trees do, right? But this is on an individual level, and you might think, how do I compost? So in some of the shows that we had before, you can see, or you can DM us, we'll let you know, we'll help you, we'll support you. Even a lot of cities have initiatives, your green trash bin, or you can drop off. There's now going to be, there are a lot of victory gardens, community gardens. They're looking for compost. They're looking for things that they can compost. And what you can compost, I like to say, are your scraps, your coffee grounds, your vegetable scraps, your leftovers that have not been cooked. Those are the kinds of things you want to put into your compost. So number 1, plan ahead. Number 2, look who's joining us. Number 2 is shop small shop. So that's your farmers markets, your CSAs, and don't buy the big, huge bulk of things unless you're going to know that you're going to be using them. Your big sack of potatoes, you could be making all kinds of things. And number 3 is compost. 1, 2, 3, 3 simple things. And take it away, Miss Vanessa Marceau. This is exciting. Wait, where is she? Over here. Over there. There she is.
Yes, I just thought I'd say a quick hello from the Phoenix airport here. And speaking of not wasting, any food that was in danger of going to waste in the fridge, I just put it into my hand luggage because I refuse to let it go to waste. So there's all kinds of random apples, lemons, oranges, pomegranates, avocado. So I am so committed to not wasting any food. I will eat it no matter what, no matter where, on my way to Indiana. And I've also just recently learned that you can compost citrus and onions, which I wasn't composting. I was throwing in the green bin, but apparently if you dry the citrus peels and then shred them in little pieces, you can throw them in the compost pile. So there's absolutely no reason, even if you live in an apartment building, you can get a little container that you just throw your compost in, use it for your plants, or give it to, I have a friend who wants to give me his compost so I can compost into my garden. So many ways that we can be waste free. I just wanted to send you all a huge heartfelt hello and big wave. I'm going to head to my next terminal for my flight, to connecting flight here to Indiana, but just wanted to wish you all so well, and I will see you all next week from Indiana. Have a great time And remember to eat everything, don't buy until you are done with what you have. Thank you so much to you all. See you next time. Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Yeah. So I just found something called the Eden Project. I mean, you can Google how to compost, but some of the things they say are food scraps, tea bags. If they have a staple in them, you're going to take that out. You can also put leaves, crunchy leaves, cardboard. So maybe you have, something that came in cardboard you had delivered. You're going to basically, it gives you, buy a decent compost bin or make your own, create your own, some kind of pail. Pick the perfect spot for your compost heap or bin. You want to be away from your house so the little critters don't come in. You want to keep it closed. Let the worms do the hard work. Worms will find your compost. Put the right stuff in, like we talked about, plant prunings, grass cuttings, tea bags, veggie peelings, fruit waste, and definitely keep things out of there. Oh, and this is really essential. We want to bring nitrogen also into the soil, and that's what happens with the breakdown. That way then you can replant and grow things. So growing your own is also very important to make America green again. So I leave you with those things and get the balance right and get the right amount of air. And you can look it all up. It's called the Eden Project, but there's lots of things. I just Googled it. So Google's our friend. We can find things that way. It's not hard. You just got to start somewhere. And, just take one step at a time. Maybe, the other thing I want to say actually, while I have the floor is you probably heard of Greta Thunberg. She was on the cover of Time magazine. She was also up for the Nobel Peace Prize, which she did not get last year, but she's up again for this year. And she went around the globe and came across the Atlantic on a sailboat. She stopped using oil, gas, fuel. They don't drive cars, their whole family and so forth. And she's actually a vegan. She visited Esther the Wonder Pig while she was here in the United States. This is an incredible brochure put out by the Save Movement, the Climate Save Movement, which is a youth organization, the Youth Climate Save. If you want to check that out if you're a youth or you have children, it's a great way to bring them into the conversation of the environment. But it essentially talks about how our house is on fire. This is what she was quoted saying. I want you to act as if the house is on fire because it is. We are not in school today and we are in a pandemic. Think about that, why we're in the pandemic. You are not at work today. This is an emergency and we will not be bystanders. That is what she says. And she talks about to avoid the risk of setting off an irreversible chain. She says to go vegan. She says to reduce your meat, dairy, and egg consumption. That is the #1 cause of climate challenge, and how important it is. You can also read a white paper by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Silas Rao. You can find it on Climate Healers, and he breaks out how it is that animal agriculture is the #1 climate change challenge that we are dealing with right now. But here's the good news. Again, I like to leave people with what they can do. You can make choices. You can vote with your dollars. You can, by purchasing plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, legumes, rice, grains, and eating them and producing them yourselves, you can cut down the carbon emissions on this planet. You can take the power back.
Very, very true. Yes. And I wanted to find out how did working, Diana, with Food Finders, how did it change your relationship with food?
We've always, I remember being at the table with my family, and I had a son who was a really picky eater. My daughter, not so much, but my son was a picky eater. And I would say, you're not getting up till you eat everything on your plate. And then I would, of course, go there's starving children in Africa, and he'd heard that for a few years, and then he finally said, "Mom, can you please give my food to those starving children?" And I said, "Oh my God, you're terrible." But I mean, it has changed our lives in that, we do the Meatless Mondays. I try to always do the meatless Mondays. We try to, if there's leftovers from dinner, we bring those for lunch the next day. We do the first in, the first out in the fridge. I have my own garden. My husband built me a garden, a raised bed, and I try really hard to grow things. It's not very easy. So if you guys do it, I applaud you, because it is not easy to do. But I try to I have romaine lettuce growing right now. I've got herbs that I use growing. So it really has made a difference. And it's unfortunate, because I remember growing up, you never heard about these kind of things the way our kids are learning about them nowadays. Nobody ever talked about composting or about hunger or food waste. But now these are big issues that are, in front of people. A lot of kids are struggling right now because of COVID. So these are things that, resonate with so many more people than they did back when we were growing up. So I think it's really changed the way a lot of people think. And that's why it's so important that we continue to get the messages out there, that we talk about, food justice and the environment, and what we can do. And, a lot of people, although maybe they don't work in the food industry, they know people that work in the food industry. We used to go out to dinner and lunches, and you should ask, hey, what do you do with your leftover food at the end of the night? Or your brother who works for, this grocery store, what do you guys have a food rescue program? So it's bringing that information to more people. Have you heard of food finders? They can set you up with some type of a food rescue program if you currently don't have something in place. But it's again, bringing the information to people's attention. And, I love all of the ideas that Paige had. And I think, donating food has to be one of those in that top 3, because a lot of times we'll get calls from, neighborhoods that had like a neighborhood barbecue, and they had all of these items that were never even utilized, packages of buns and hamburgers and potato salad that wasn't open. And they'll say, hey, can we donate this? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. As long as it hasn't been put out and it hasn't been touched, absolutely. And we make arrangements to go and pick that up. So there's things that if you've got trees in your yard and you don't eat 1,000 oranges during the season, pick those trees and donate those. Pick that fruit and donate that to food finders. We will make arrangements to come and pick that up from your home. So there's so much that people could be doing.
And a lot of people have gardens. There's things like in tomato season, oh my gosh, they grow so plentiful and people don't know what to do with them. And so you would be the perfect really remedy for them. So this is why we need to get this. And love what you said. Would you talk more about the concept of first in, first out? Because I love that concept.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, making sure that when you put that, leftover, what did we have leftover last night? Salmon. We had some salmon and some veggies. When that goes in, you make sure that you take that for lunch the next day. Or we had some leftover barbecue chicken on Sunday, and I've been putting that in a salad. Or, whatever the case is. If I buy, I tend to buy the large lettuce from Sam's Club, and I make sure that I always pull that out when it's time to make my salads, and using all of your vegetables. So it's just really paying attention to like what you're purchasing what you're going to use, having a meal plan. So if you do buy that lettuce from Sam's Club, that you use that, you incorporate that into your meals and your lunches every day, so that nothing goes to waste at the end of the week. So just making sure that what you put into your fridge, that you use what you put in yesterday before you use what you put in, or what you used the day before versus what you put in yesterday.
Excellent suggestion. Paige?
Yes, I just wanted to encourage people to really take a look at fighting climate change with diet change. And there's just something that I wanted to read here real quickly, which is growing food for animals, not people. So that is a big challenge that we have. When we think of farmers growing crops, we imagine food for people, but 75% of all agricultural land around the world, 75% is used for livestock production. And, we talk about how there's so many hungry people on this planet, and if we stopped making crops to feed the animals, it's very inefficient. It's a very inefficient way of doing food. But we just went straight to the crops and ate them ourselves, our fruits and our vegetables, the Meatless Monday. Power to you. That's awesome, Diana. And I encourage, those of you out there that do Meatless Monday, take it to another day of the week. Take it through the whole week, and then whatever you choose to do on the weekend, that's up to you. But it's very important for our own personal health as well as the planet's health. There are over 9 billion land animals bred and slaughtered in the U.S. In the U.S. alone, let me repeat that, 9 billion, not including the sea life, which is another multi-billion-dollar animal source that is being bred and then killed for human consumption. So I want to encourage people to make those changes for the planet, for your own personal health, for our children, for our children's children. I have a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old, and I'd love to have grandchildren if possible, maybe one, or they adopt. But I'm concerned about our planet, as well as I know many of you are. I'm concerned about the people on the planet, as well as I'm concerned about the future of us on the planet. So I just encourage people to take a look at fighting climate change with diet change. And as you mentioned earlier, Doreet, Jane Unchained News Network, I'm the booker for the show called Lunch Break Live, and daily we provide ways in which you can make a plant-based meal and be inspired. It's a lot of fun. It's daily at 12:30. You can always watch the replay. We have all the information on the website called janeunchained.com. Plus, if I may, I'll give a little plug to the New Day New Chef show, which is on Amazon Prime, and you don't have to be an Amazon Prime member to access it. You can just pay for an episode or two, and they have a support and feed season as well, which was recently. And the support and feed group takes plant-based meals and feeds those that are in need. And it was started by Billie Eilish, who is a superstar musician. Her mother and her son, her brother. It's a family affair, and they bring plant-based meal to people in need. So I just wanted to encourage people to really make that switch for the planet, for yourself. If you haven't seen Cowspiracy, that's an incredible film. That's what changed my life 5 years ago. And my daughter's the one who brought me to the awareness of the planet, and then, of course, the animals. We don't need to breed and feed anymore. We can create a sustainable planet off of plants. So.
Thank you, Paige. So one of the things that I loved also that Diana was saying, and Diana, I'm going to adopt this if you don't mind. I love how you say they ask people in the evening, what did you do with, your excess food at the end of the day? I think, now I'm not going to any gatherings, no parties, no thing of the sort. But when we start doing that, those icebreakers when people introduce themselves, how are you, blah, blah, blah. So the first question I'm what do you do with excess food?
They're gonna go, here she comes. I do it all the time. What are you doing with that leftover food over there?
I really mean it. I think because at parties I usually go and I ask catering people, what do you do with the leftover food? But now I'm going to start asking enough people, and I will see those who shun me and those who stay with me, and the ones who stay with me I know are worth developing some kind of relationship with. This is how I'm going to decide who is going to be my
That's hilarious.
This is how I'm going to filter out people in my life from now on. I love that you did that. I'll be forever thanking you, Diana. If you feel your head about spinning and about to burst and you feel a little gratitude coming, that is me at some event asking people, and so what do you do with your extra food?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to send you some business cards.
Yes, actually, that's a great idea because we need to start handing them out to other people, just like this, indiscriminately, and saying to people, here, would you like to know about how you can stop food waste, and just start handing them out? So I'm so glad you were able to be here with us. I am so happy because this is something which I really believe is important. And I know that Dr. David Wong actually wrote in the comments, thanks for practical suggestions. But I wanted to also ask you and Paige 1 minute, a 30-second wrap up, please.
Go ahead, Diane. Okay, I'll go first. And I just want to say, I used to walk around, everywhere I traveled for 2 years, I still do, but I showed people about the plastic straw situation. And I just want to say that in the same way, I just had a thought that we could go around, we could be literally almost, I don't want to call us the police, just the reminders of food waste. We could literally say, you're going to take that home, right? We could say, oh, they have to-go boxes, right? Like, we could become those people, because honestly, for 7 years ago, I would travel around and I would say, hey, there's paper straws, this company called Aardvark. And, they do paper straws, and you could reduce plastic on the planet. This is even before I was vegan. So I just want to say, the other thing is, I want to remind people out there to please bring your own. So, also bamboo toothbrush is really sustainable, but bring your own and just pack them in with you, and encourage, if you're having a delivery, to make sure you make in the special notes, please don't send home I don't need any foodware, right? I don't need any plastics. I don't need any, cutlery or whatever, right? But, this is so cute. My friend who makes these little cozies for your glass straw that you can travel with. So I just in the same way that now we see a lot more of the paper straws, or people know straws. They don't automatically put the straws in, right? That we could do the same thing, is just go around and be like the reminders, the food waste reminders, to say, hey, you're going to take that home with you, right? You can repurpose that, things like that. And I'd love to be part of the team that's helping with the cooking of this food that's coming in. So count me in on that, Diana.
Thank you so much for having us, Food Finders, on, for allowing me to share what we do. What we do is made possible by supporters like yourself. And, it really takes a community to get the information out there. To Paige, you'd be really proud of us. Last year at our Chefs to the Rescue event, we actually gave out a little combo stainless steel set of a knife, a fork, and a spoon as part to all the participants who came to our event.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Woohoo!
But, I encourage everybody to, follow us on our social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, our website, foodfinders.org. We've got a place for you to get involved, just about no matter where you live. And again, thank you for having us on and for allowing us to share. And I love what you all are doing, and together we can make a big difference.
What was this page?
Donate today.
Foodfinders.org. There you go, everybody. It's easy to find, and you just scroll, and you can get involved in who they are, and you can, participate. You can find out about some of the volunteers and the different programs, and get yourself involved today. I'm excited. I'm excited about this.
Thank you.
And I promise you, Diana, that at the beginning of the year, I will put together some chefs to do videos about repurposing food, and we will send them to you so that you can give this to the people who are getting also the food, because they might also need to know that themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have our support, our unwavering support. Thank you so much. And Paige, again, could you just let everyone know how to support them, please?
Of course, yes. You can find me on Paige Parsons Roach. on Instagram, on Facebook, and also at Jane Unchained. She was a former news reporter for CNN, headline news anchor, Jane Velez Mitchell, and now it's called Jane Unchained News Network. And you can go to the website, you can go to Instagram, or on Facebook Live and Twitter and Roku soon. So, yeah.
So thank you all, everyone, for watching, sending your ideas, sending your own suggestions, and please look at the app for food finders. Volunteer, donate, whatever you need, spread the word on social media. Thank you all so much, Diana. Hats off to you. And I do wear hats. Unfortunately, I don't have one on, but Paige.
That's a great hat.
All her hats are. She's a hat person, and so am I.
Good.
If you ever need anything, let us know. Contact us, please.
Thank you.
You're so very welcome. And on to everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'm so glad that you were able to spend some time with us. And please spread the word. Zero Food Waste Challenge is on until the end of the year. Please invite people to join. All the best, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
See you all next week, same time, when Vanessa will be back with us from Indiana. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.